Well, he's been exonerated. There's nothing there. I mean, it's 2 years of wasted of the presidency, 2 years of the Democrats going crazy, and, you know, he did nothing to interfere with the report. The report was done, they found nothing, end of story. They have to let up on him a bit now, or he'll be in 2020, another term.
So the questioner asked, will this give him a free hand to do whatever he wants? What do you think?
Well, he's never done whatever he wanted. He's always done what he thought was best for the nation. So I think he'll continue to do that. The economy's doing well, America's doing well. I mean, I don't see why people have any complaints against him.
Sorry,
in 2006, I was a chaperone for Miss Australia, for Australia's entrant in the Miss Universe contest when Trump was still running that. So he was there that whole time for a week. And I mean, I had a great deal of time talking to him about politics. He always said he intended to be, you know, to run for president. He was none of those things. He was not racist, not sexist, none of those things.
Just because you didn't have an experience with him doesn't mean he hasn't done these terrible things. I mean, there's audio of him talking about grabbing a woman by the pussy.
I just made a joke about a cock earlier on.
Yes,
so I don't think there's much difference there.
A joke about a cock versus grabbing women and basically committing sexual assault are very different things. I'm body. I joke about sex constantly because it's awesome. But I'm not walking around thinking that I have a right to every woman's body simply because I feel an attraction to her. It's called self-control.
We should note for the audience, Teena, that your joke was off camera. You've now brought it into the public.
Oh, OK. The worst hate speech I've heard recently is Richard Di Natale. I mean, he comes out with absolutely disgraceful things. He's incited violence against the likes of Andrew Bolt. And Milo Yiannopoulos, I class him as an entertainer. Why everyone takes him seriously?
What you mean by that? Because
this is the problem we have, sorry. Let me just say, this is the problem
that we have.
No
one could possibly take Milo seriously.
You conservative commentators
hundreds of
will not
thousands of
listen
people
for once, listen to what the Muslim community is saying.
Who would take Milo seriously? That's all I'm saying.
Hundreds of thousands of people in the United States take Milo seriously. They follow him. They pay money to go see him speak.
But I think they see him. People that I have spoken to who have paid to go and see him merely dismiss him as some sort of entertainer.
But once again, you're using your personal experience as a metric for reality. And
I'm going to bring you up because you said something quite dramatic. You said that the leader of the Greens had incited violence against Andrew Bolt. So you better actually...
I heard an interview last Friday.
And what precisely are you talking about?
But there were the attack on Andrew Bolt were from Greens, and the language that Richard Di Natale uses was just disgusting. And
what language was that? Could I ask, Teena?
In an interview with Andrew Bolt
but
on
what
Friday
language
night,
did he use?
The way he speaks about conservatives...
Marie, just hang on, please. Go ahead.
No, the vile language used against conservatives is disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. But you watch the tape.
Can I just say? It's probably defamatory to suggest that someone has incited violence against someone else without proof.
I'm saying that language, and that was what Andrew had said the other night, that the language that Richard and the Greens have incited, I mean, he has to have protection 24 hours a day.
So can we just be clear about this? It doesn't sound like he incited violence.
No, but I'm saying
it
was definitely hate speech. You know, perhaps I'm in a bubble. I don't see the growth of white supremacists that I hear constantly. Well, you can laugh if you like. I know there's nutters everywhere on all sides, but I don't think thankfully, it's not an everyday occurrence in Australia.
You are in a bubble, and that's really terrifying, because if you think that you can just call the police and they'll take away people who are racist, that's not how any of this works.
I understood she was being threatened. She was being threatened.
No, she said that she was seeing markers of hate speech.
OK, you're not strictly speaking a politician, but you're in politics. What do you think your party should do about it?
When we see evidence of anything like that, obviously we deal with it. You know, and the same as we ignore the types of Fraser Anning.
You can enforce the laws that are supposedly on the books here in Australia in terms of racial discrimination and say that you cannot hang up these posters, you cannot intimidate, you cannot encourage neo-Nazism.
But that's what I just said.
No.
Yeah, I did. Exactly. Exactly what I said.
Okay.
I was incredibly impressed with what Jacinda Ardern did, and I really hope that more politicians around the world take a cue from her. And I don't think it's even about gender.
The Liberal Party did that years ago with John Howard.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
I guess one of the...
That's funny. John Howard did do that. Jacinda Ardern is copying exactly... Okay.
No, I mean...
Can I also remind you, Jacinda Ardern is only there because she formed an alliance with Winston Peters. I think everyone forgets that little fact. I mean, clearly, there is no way myself personally would do any sort of real preference with the Greens after the vomit that comes out of their mouth. So, you know, you go on about One Nation, but you still don't listen to the absolute bile that comes out of De Natal, your leader. So we'll make no decision on that at the time when we look at candidates and different seats. I mean, clearly...
So you are contemplating preferencing One Nation?
No, we're contemplating...
That sounds quite clear.
No, I'm not... I didn't say that at all, Tony. I said it depends on the seat and what candidates are standing, what parties are standing. We have no idea who we preference yet till we see who's available.
But you're absolutely not ruling it out.
Not ruling anything out. Though, I mean, Pauline Hanson has a large following. Look at the result of Mark Latham.
Of course, and you want that following to come to you, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Would you, since you've mentioned John Howard in favourable terms on the gun laws just recently...
I'm saying that
Jacinda
Ardern copied John Howard.
Do you think the party should follow that line of preferencing the One Nation party last because of aspects of their policies which you could regard as racist?
There are aspects of the Greens policy that I regard as racist. So we have to look at all the candidates, as I said, until they come up. We'll take a close look.
I give up. I give up.
To anything yet.
All right.
If Jacinda Ardern can copy John Howard, in your words, why
she
can't...
took those policy on guns, and the audience seemed to think it was funny, but that's oddly what happened.
Can I get through the sentence this time, please?
Sure.
If Jacinda Ardern can, in your words, copy John Howard, why can't Scott
Adopt
Morrison...
his policies, yes.
Oh, wow.
If Jacinda Ardern can copy John Howard, why can't Scott Morrison copy John Howard and put One Nation last?
Mark Latham received a large vote in the Central Coast Hunter Valley areas. Now, I know why they voted for him. Mark is pro-coal mines, a lot of coal miners in those areas, generations of coal miners petrified of losing their jobs. So there's no racism, bigotry or anything. They simply voted for someone that is very pro-coal.
It's good to see you embrace a former Labor leader in such a way.
No, I'm not embracing. I'm stating why he received the vote.
That was a light-hearted repression.
No, it wasn't light-hearted.
Let's turn now to the Labor Party.
A little bit touchy at the moment, Tony, so careful.
We saw the Prime Minister on Saturday night. I said earlier, cock-a-hoop, which means very excited.
Yeah.
Not the way you took it. Not the way you imagined the term, but anyway, leave that aside.
Rosa didn't know either what it meant.
It's not an American expression.
Yeah. We have a female premier. We've had a female Prime Minister. I don't think women are doing so bad in Australia.
And what about the notion, the questioner said there, of men being emasculated? Do you see any evidence of that?
I see sometimes young men scared of women. I do see that women have become young women have become very empowered, and that's a great thing. But as you see the rise of power in the women, I do see some of the young men, it does threaten them a little.
I'm couch this all by saying that I'm very proudly a feminist AF. And I'm also, because I didn't get an opportunity to speak in the last question, I'm very proudly one of those Asian migrants with a PhD who's coming to take all your jobs.
So that racist remark by Daly is funny, but something...
It's not funny at all. It is extremely racist.
Well, everyone's laughing at it. Exactly.
They were laughing at what I
at
said,
her joke.
not what they said. But I think we still, surely we cannot deny...